Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the Bama Standard, and we are brought to you by Workspace Solutions and Oakmont Financial Partners, LLC. And we're brought to you today by the Dogfather t-shirts that Steve Brown's wearing. I'm your host, Justin Riley. With me, as always, comedy legend Steve Brown and senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, Stephen M. Smith. Before we go any further, I want y'all to stop what you're doing, hit like and subscribe. But also, I want you to go to our social media and follow us at the Bama Standard on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, if you want to check out, if you want to check out any of our old shows, go to the Justin Riley Network and check out those and hit like and subscribe there as well. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, man. Hey, I'm excited, brother. I'm glad to be back, man. We've been having some fun, man. A lot of fun. So, hey, let's get into it, man. What's going on, Stephen M? I got your wedding invitation.
Yeah, man. I'm good, man. I just want to ask this one question. Justin, why it take so long for the Birmingham Stallions to get going?
I was hoping you could fill me in, man, because that game last week, I feel like I was transported back to 1995 watching.
What's the final
grind
score?
It out
10-9. Oh, wow.
Hey, but you know what? I understand we talking football, but I want to get into something a little bit deeper. So, Stephen, you're about to get married, right?
Right.
So how does it feel? About you about to have sex for the very first time. How does that feel? I mean, what's going on in your mind?
I mean, in my mind, Steve, I'm excited.
That's right.
And are you watching any training videos?
Yeah, you watching training videos. I mean, I got Hustler. Let me see. I even got Jet Magazine Beauty of the Week.
He even reactivated his Backpage account so that you can start practicing. But real quick, guys, Marvin Constant is not going to be on tonight. He gave us some excuse about his house catching on fire and clearing out all of his baby oil collection. So he has to go to Amazon and order a whole new case because he's about to go on vacation, and he's got to take those vacation pics. No, but he's got some renovations going on, and it got delayed 2 days. So, unfortunately, he won't be with us. But you got us, and that's all that matters.
Hey, no, Justin, come on, man. I don't make me lose respect for you, man. You stop covering for Marvin. Marvin is dodging this next guest we about to bring up. That's just what it is. Marvin is dodging him. So do the honors.
You know what, Steve? Let's go ahead and bring the truth out. Stephen M. Smith, if you would, please introduce our guest.
We're talking about one of the most entertaining players in the history of Alabama football. Played under Coach Franchione. Had some time right there. I know Coach Fran. I know bad vibes. But he probably gave Marvin Constant that work out there in practice. He's the godfather of a transfer portal. And now that brother is in Hollywood swag with the black glasses on, probably giving Ice-T, LL Cool J, and The Rock a piece of that working business. We got Brandon, the superstar, swag surfing Miree up in here.
What up? Hey, man, you know what, man? Hey, Brandon, let me tell you something, man. When Marvin found out that you was going to be on the show, he got some disease I've never even heard of. I think he called it Ghana herpesiphilis. I'm like, Marvin, it's like where your private area fall off, but it's still I don't understand, man. Yeah, so he's scared, man.
Y'all gonna have to talk to him about that, man. We get on him bad about that. I wanted to see Marvin today. Roll Tide, everybody. Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide, Brandon.
Roll Tide.
Hey, we got a lot of questions, but let's go ahead and jump into that part. Steve, don't you have something you want to ask him about?
Yeah, man. So what happened with you and Marvin in practice, man? See, Marvin was telling us that, man, every time you hit the hole, he was there, and he stopped it up like constipation. As a matter of fact, he said, ask him what my nickname was. They called me constipation because I jammed up all the holes. And I was like, I'm 54, and I was like, Marvin, I feel you. I do understand.
Marvin is an amazing athlete. I tell you what,
Don't be
there's two
politically
type of
correct.
players.
Do not be politically correct.
don't
This is
be
not that
politically
forum.
correct.
There's two type of players on defense. You know, those ones that you run over and the ones you run around, right? Okay, and then some that you try to run around and they might be too fast and you run them over. But I would say Marvin is somebody you wanted to run around. Marvin was a hoss in that linebacker core. So, I can't remember too many exchanges we've had, but I usually try to outrun him now.
Hey, man, you know what? Let me say this. I am so glad that God has shined down on us and not let Marvin be on this live, because I'm telling you, if he had heard that, we would never hear it down. He would keep it up. Man, oh my God.
It'll be on loop, huh? It'll be on
Yeah.
loop.
And before he hit you in practice, did he tell you how much he benched and squatted? Because he always brought that up every week.
I tell you what, man.
I was bench
he
pressing
used to eat
225.
weights.
I was squatting 600.
Oh gosh, this guy, he used to eat weights for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, that's when he started the psychological games. He started in the weight room. He didn't start on the field. He started in the weight room. You know, he walks around with his shirt off. You know, Marvin. You know,
He still does that.
He still does that.
Marvin.
As a matter of fact, sometimes he come on his live with no bottoms on. I'm like, Marvin, what are you doing?
At all.
Makes him feel free. It gives him the edge.
Yeah, that's
that gives him the edge.
Hey man,
Now-
so listen, I'm not gonna stay on this live and listen to you talk all these positive things about Marvin.
I know, right?
Marvin had to do something bad. Come on, because I don't like the guy. Something. I really don't like the dude.
We're gonna have to talk offline, man. I'm gonna give you all the ammunition you need.
Yeah, man, I need it, man. Marvin he kept saying, man, I was that guy, man. I was doing this. I was like, Marvin, you wasn't doing jack. And then you come on here and you confirm it. So did you ever run through him at least once?
Once or twice. You know, we had some collisions in there. We had some collisions. Let's just say I don't ever remember falling backwards when I ran.
Oh, okay. We'll take that. We'll take that, Brick. We'll take that, Brick.
Okay.
Hey, man, I'm out. I'm out. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm out.
Oh man!
So, Brandon, before we got on air, you're talking about how people are asking you all the time about your true fan experience with the Alabama fan base, man. What was your first taste of that like during recruiting and then being on campus?
Yeah, I think the first time I really got to experience it was when I was in high school and I came to A-Day game. And I saw how crazy they were going for none other than Deshaun Alexander. And it was almost like he was Justin Bieber to a bunch of 13-year-old girls in his heyday, right? I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, people would grab it for him. And so it got to the point where he took off his Letterman's jacket, gave it to me, and I put his sunglasses on, and I got mobbed by fans outside of the A-Day game, in the tunnel of the A-Day game, signing autographs in his name. So that was a very cool experience that I had. One of the other notable experiences I had was the very 99 Alabama Auburn. It was in Auburn, actually. And so we're on our way. I was redshirted that year. I was with a friend who went to school there. And we were on our way down, and we were listening to, I don't know if those guys are still around, Rick and Bubba, the two sexiest fat men alive. Do y'all remember them?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. They were hilarious. They had a hot dog gun. We were listening to it on the radio. They had a hot dog gun, and they were shooting it into a crowd of people. And they had people calling in like, hey, who are you for? Alabama Auburn. Who are you for? Alabama Auburn. And then one guy, he got in there very, most people, I'm from Alabama, Roll Tide, or from Auburn, like, whatever. One guy was very calm. and he said, "Who are you for? Who are you for? Alabama, Auburn?" And he said, "I'm for Alabama." And just when he was about to say something, the guy was going to say something else. The guy cut him off and said, "I just want to let you guys know that this is more than just a football game. It is our way of life against theirs. They run a communist regime." And at that moment, I knew how intense these things were down in the South. People don't know. They don't know. I'm from Ohio State, Michigan. I tell them it's one time. They talk about it one time, 1 week a year. Alabama, Auburn, it is 52 weeks a year. It is 365 days a year. People don't understand the passion and the intensity of the fans down there. And to show, I'm sorry I'm talking so much, but to show,
no, go ahead.
To show how, juxtaposed when we came out to UCLA in 2000, we were all like, 4.9 million people in the state are going to know the score on Sunday morning, but out here, football is just like, what's and ever. So they were wearing flip-flops and board shorts. They were all like, I remember Dante Ellington knocked one guy down, one of their big guys down. And he said, "Oh, you got me, Ellington." Like, he was just like a surfer dude. And it was just
what?
Like how different, the football cultures are on the teams, man. But it was some great times for sure.
Hey man, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, our culture is like none other. Be a Alabama Auburn game. This is where you can legally go and see white folks fist fight all day long.
For real.
It's
Steve,
it's like a
real,
redneck.
yes.
It's like a low budget redneck WWE. I love it. Everybody's fighting. And and the thing is, you know what, man? I'm telling you, they say it's racism in Alabama and this and that and this and that. But dude, let me tell you something. Right now, if you go to an Alabama or Auburn game, you can say Roll Tide. You can get anything you want, or you can
Absolutely.
say War Eagle. Let me tell you something, man. I went down to the Iron Bowl 4 years ago, and I went to the Auburn side, and I said War Eagle, and I got married 4 times. 4 different white girls. I'm like, this is amazing. This is amazing.
And it's almost like it's like a society. Like I felt like being an Alabama player, I can go to anywhere in the state where there was Alabama fans, and I would be welcome like a member of the family. Like it just didn't matter. I mean, that's how amazing it was, the fan base. I think the biggest thing people look at Alabama being, title town, championships, and the whole nine. But what makes University of Alabama special is the people. I didn't graduate from Bama, and here's the thing: there's people. My mom, she said, "Hey, listen, if you're friends with them, you're gonna be friends with them in the future." But there's people that I talk to daily from Alabama and this has been over 21 years. So people make That's the reason why Alabama. I know, right? Don't make me think about it too much, man. I hurt my back.
This segment is sponsored by Geritol.
Right. It's just amazing. You know what's so funny? I was in Cincinnati, Ohio, y'all, and I was at a church event. Outside the church event, I was just messing around, and like one of the pastors, he had a big surprise for the patrons, the church members, and so it was 2 Bengals that came out, and so I didn't rush over to him or anything like that. I kind of stayed off my way, and one of them walked over to me, and he said, "Did you play at Alabama?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Listen, I'm from Birmingham." I wish I would remember his name. "I'm from Birmingham. You were playing for Bama when I was in 8th grade." I was like, "Oh gosh, how old am I?" This is like 10 years ago. I'm like, "Yo, this is the craziest thing." But yeah, man, Bama is a special place, man. The people are great down there.
Hey man, they never forget you. Matter of fact, you still got enough credibility from being down there the time you were that you probably could run for governor there and win.
Oh gosh, that's John Alexander. I'll be his running mate. John Alexander is the first son of Alabama. That's what he literally. One time we was with him in a diner, and he was about to to leave. We were about to leave, and he stood up, and the crowd stood up and started clapping. I can't believe it, man. They stood up and started clapping, and he got embarrassed and sat back down. It was the craziest thing ever, man. Alabama was a special place.
I'm gonna say this. I mean, I got an uncle, and this is funny. I got an uncle who recently retired from the Department of Corrections and spent like 25 years in the Army. So the funny story with him is when he was at the corrections department, like half the folks were for Auburn and half the folks were for Alabama that he was working with. And so my uncle was so neutral, he didn't want to get jumped by nobody. So my uncle used to be so neutral, he would walk into work, and he'd be like this, roll eagle. I'm like, what?
Oh, come on.
No, for real.
But you gotta go all the way, man.
For real, my uncle was so. My uncle used to tell me, he probably just nephew, sit down, nephew. I don't like confronting folks. I want to stay out the way. So when you stay out the way, I just go roll eagle, be neutral with it.
So your uncle was a trans fan. He said he was an Auburn fan, but identified as Alabama. That is so hypocritical. Come on,
it is.
It's one of those things, man. Where honestly, I look at Auburn to be a stepchild, man. I don't put them on the same pedestal. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. I think Auburn is the little brother. It's the little one. Like, to me.
Hold on. Now Brandon, are we talking little brother or little brother 3 times removed? Like, which one are we talking about?
Right. It's definitely not blood relation, you know.
Now, Brandon, I know you had some crazy characters on that coaching staff. You got to have some one-liners. Ivy Williams was there with you, so I know you got some crazy stories. So, man, fill us in.
You know, it is one thing. Like, the best coaches, they know their players inside and out, right? And so, if people that know me from Bama know that I was like a germaphobe. I'm like I like to call myself a recovering germaphobe. So imagine in a meeting room, it's pitch black and you're staring at a screen because you're doing that for hours a day watching film. And you got a coach in there with a pointer, a red beam pointer, and the rewind button. And he's rewinding every mistake you make while he's critiquing you. And so Ivy Williams was legendary. Like, this man, like, if I ever make a coach character, he definitely is an archetype, like, because he was a prototypical coach that was like mean, that was on you, but loved you, but you didn't know it because he was browbeat you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you couldn't. And then one thing I remember getting recruited at Bama, they told me, they said, Ivy Williams get on you, but he said nobody else on the coaching staff can ever say anything to you. If they say anything to you, they got to answer to him. So he was that type of lawyer,
like that,
right? And he didn't take no stuff. So imagine, like, you know, when you're scrimmaging and the sideline, you know, is porous, meaning like there's people encroaching the side. They're past the sideline, they're on the field, and the coaches keep saying, "Back up, back up." They back up and then they creep back out. They did that about 6 or 7 times, and Ivy Williams didn't say anything. But one time I saw him turn around, and he said, "Now, if I had to turn one more time," and he took 2 steps, and the entire sideline just backed off. Like, they did not come back at all. So when he got us in the meeting room, it's pitch black, and he's going in there, and he's sipping on coffee. Or Santonio Beard told me, he said, "Man, I couldn't stand." May he rest in peace. He said, "I can't stand him. He's sipping on that coffee. Like, he's sipping on coffee and it's loud. And he's sipping on it. And he's like, and he's talking about you. And he's like, 'What do you got here?' And I think one time I made a mistake. And he said, 'Well, who do you have here?' I said, "Number 99. He said, Who do you have?" "I have number 99. He said, "Well, why didn't you get him?" And he's sipping on the little coffee. And I'm quiet. And I stayed quiet. He said, "Why didn't you get him?" And I was about to speak up, and he cut me off. I said, he said, "I know why you didn't get him." He said, "Because you was a chicken-hearted mother." Like, I mean, literally, this is the coach that told Sean Alexander, when Sean Alexander was a freshman, I remember, Sean told me, he walked up to Sean in the locker room and said, I will never recruit a player from the state of Kentucky again. And he walked off. And Sean is sitting there looking like, oh my gosh, like he messed it up for his entire state. So we get in the meeting rooms and you're laughing. You're trying to hold in your laughter when he's on everybody else. But then he gets to you and like you feel this big. And so Jeremy Walker, me and him, we talk Ivy Williams. Like literally when we speak to each other online, like our talk is Ivy Williams quotes. And so one time, you know how somebody will try to, block somebody, but you don't like drive your feet through them. So he said, so he was telling Jeremy, and he said, what did you think? You was gonna explode when you hit him with your Popeye arms. This isn't your powder keg, your powder puff league, son. Like, listen, this guy had one-liners for days, and he was so funny, and he knew all of our quirks. One time I messed up. He said, I bet if it was germ warfare, you'd be able to excite. Like, literally, he knew I was a germaphobe. So he said, I bet if it was a germ warfare, you would have got it right. I mean, he was one of them coaches, man. Like, psychologically. One time we were recruiting, and we were at, what's the name of that chicken wing place near the softball stadium? It's like
Baumhauer's.
All of them.
All of them. There's like 20 of them now.
They say I won't even recognize. I won't even recognize the campus nowadays. But one time we were there, and we were all getting served, and there was this girl who was a server that was in my class, and she was like handing people the wrong plates, and Ivy Williams was not gonna let her up. He looked at her for like 2 minutes, like as she messed up giving people their plates back. And like she felt so small. I felt so bad for her. I didn't want to bring it up in class. Like it was like one of them type of things. But he was such a character. But I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, very randomly, and he's coaching in that new football league that Terrell Owens is in.
The player control league.
Yeah, player control league. Yeah. You know what?
Yes.
Speaking of backups, when I was playing in like the what you want to call it, I forgot what league it was. It was a league where people didn't play, and the coach, I ended up being a backup. I was a backup, but they didn't tell me I was the player on the sideline telling people to back up, and I was so hurt. I was so hurt.
Oh man,
Brown, you're gonna be a backup. He kept telling me I was gonna be a backup, but he never told me what position. Linebacker, what punter? What am I gonna be a backup? But
Steve,
all right, take your position, and I'm going down the sideline to you. Back up.
Hey, Steve. At least you didn't have one of the moments where you subbed yourself in the game. I had one of those moments where.
Hold on, you sub yourself in?
Yes. So this is what happened. So one of my teammates was a wide receiver. So he was running a post route. He gets decleated, like he laid out on the ground, then messed up his ankle and everything. So they had to get him off the field. So the coach is looking like, okay, who's gonna go in? We got 10 guys in the field. Who's gonna go in here? So one of my best friends is the water boy. So I'm looking at him like, bro, I'm finna get in this game. He like, you ain't going out here. I'm like, bro, I'm finna get in. So I sit there, I put my chin strap on. The coach doesn't see me go on the field. I run on the field. I get the call from the quarterback. I'm playing the X receiver. The ball is snapped. I'm wide open. I done hit the man with a two-piece move. I'm wide open. I'm staring directly at the quarterback. I throw him the ball. The quarterback see me open. He pulls the ball down, runs out of bounds, and gets hit. And I walk over to him and say, watch over the ball. He goes, Steven, your job is a decoy. You run.
Man.
All you do is run. You was a decoy. And so then.
Hey, and the reason he didn't throw you the ball is because, yeah, you buckle your chin strap, but you ain't have on a helmet. Look.
How does Bama look this year, guys? I mean, what's they where they strong at? Where you think you might need help at? What are you thinking?
What you mean Alabama?
Yeah.
Alabama's strong in every position.
Mm.
Every position.
Mm.
Even Towel Boy.
And so are they young players or are they returning players?
They're
Majority returning players,
I
yeah.
think Steven has all the stats and all of everything that we really need to know. But I think that we have do we have 11 returning starters on defense? I'm saying 8, right, or 9?
It's 9. It's 9.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
It's 9. It's 9 on defense. Majority of it's on defense, but I think offensively, Bama's got guys back too. They pulled a few guys from the transfer portal. I just think it all comes down to that offensive line to me. The offensive line holds up, does their part, keep Bryce protected, run the ball some. I think it's gonna be good.
You know what, man? You know what? Honestly, the offensive line hasn't been seen, but from what I read on paper, they might be a really good offensive line. Think about it. We got the guy coming from Vanderbilt. We got a lot of guys.
Kentucky.
We got a lot of movable parts now. Go ahead.
We got a lot of movable parts. I think the pressure's just on bringing a new coach in. You got Wolford to replace Doug Marrone. And what Wolford did with Kentucky, making them a really good offensive line, the fans are going, he better do the same thing with our offensive line over here, especially after we let Doug Marrone just go because he wasn't doing anything at all, just sitting there, just watching the players get drove back into Bryce Young. So they hoping that Wolford, the new guy from Kentucky, is able to get this in order.
You know what? I'm hoping. My wish is that they really need to come up with a package for Jalen Monroe.
I agree.
That's going to be all on Bill O'Brien, because I'll say this. I don't know what Bryce Young is going to do after this season, but the way the draft people are talking about him, this may be Bryce's last year. So with that being said, you got to have that package ready for Jalen Milroe. You got to see, okay, what is this future for real? When
he's improved. He's improved.
I mean, he's good. He's good.
And actually, he's a better athlete than Bryce Young. He really is. So the thing is, I think that we're really, really in good hands as far as backup. But I don't think he just needs to play the backup. I think they need to give him a wildcat package or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, this guy's just that good. He's like the number 2 fastest guy on the team.
Yeah. Number 2 fastest guy on the team, and probably the strongest guy on the team, or one of the strongest guys on the team. If you look at him, he looks like a linebacker playing quarterback.
He looks like me.
Well, Steve, I mean, he ain't wearing Stacey Adams though.
Right.
He doesn't get those until his first touchdown.
I wear them year round.
But
it's a good season. I'm excited. Is there anybody in the conference that looked tough this year going into?
Oh man.
Yeah, you know what? Oh yeah. Everybody looks tough until they play Bama. Yeah.
Right. I remember this was years ago, and I remember, Bama and Clemson used to go at it heavy, right? I mean, this is not the conference, but obviously, I've looked at the athletes that say Clemson had, and I was like, yo, they stacked up pretty well. I mean, you play 9 or 10 times. I mean, it might come out pretty even. Is there anybody like that, that could? Do you think there's somebody that can challenge Alabama twice?
Okay, let me say this. There one of our viewers, bless his heart, he goes by pork rinds. He keeps bragging about Vanderbilt. This is their year. And I'm like, I don't know. I think pork rinds has been eating a lot of pork rinds with a lot of beer.
I'm gonna say this about Vandy. Coach Clark Lee, keep praying, man, because your quarterback Ken Seals threw 10 picks last year. And he's back. If Vanderbilt get 3 wins, I'll be impressed.
Hey, speaking of Vandy, before you went missing in the transfer portal, Brandon. Coming out party, man, you erupted up the middle and down the field in that Vandy game in 2000. Before we kind of figure out the other part, man, tell us about how hyped you got when you got that first touchdown on national television.
Man, I had a lot of people in town for that game. And Vandy was like a team that, there's one team as a player that you do really well against, and I discovered that was kind of like Vandy, And so, I might have had 8 carries, 80 yards or something. Like I can't recall with that 40-yard touchdown, and it was just fun, man. It was one of those days where the offensive line was really working. So they had some great holes. Getting to the second level is me, like being a bigger back. I was able to, really break some tackles in the secondary. So that was one of those things where, you try to break tackles and all that, but the guy thought he had me. And one time he didn't. So it's funny because if there was a picture taken of me right before this guy tried to tackle me, and you would have thought, if you would have saw that picture, you're like, oh, you got tackled. But I actually was able to break that tackle, and before you know it, I was, way to the end zone. So that was a special moment, man. That was a great time.
Now,
that's really cool. After you was getting punished by Marvin Constant in practice. That's what he said.
Right. So it got you prepared for games. Okay,
right.
I see the correlation now.
But go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry.
My first year, Marvin was a sophomore. So so I redshirted that year. So I was on the practice squad basically. I was on the squad that would run, and I used to try to give them fits. I remember I used to try to.
Hey, that's what I heard every day out of practice, that no one can touch you.
Yeah, Marvin said you was on the practice squad your whole career. He said that. I'm just saying. Justin, you heard him. He said
I did hear it. Matter of fact, one coach tried to keep you there. After DeBose left, in comes Dennis Francione, and a lot of us Bama fans thought with the option offense, you were about to take off, but instead he just kind of pushes you to the back of the line, which a lot of Alabama fans don't understand. And then you kind of disappear for a little bit. Matter of fact, there was a big article about you in the Crimson White said, "Oh, Brandon, where art thou?" So if you could, man, kind of clear the air as to what happened and then how you arrived at Pitt.
Yeah, so 2001, that was the season. So going into that season, during the end of training camp, I ended up going to the hospital. I had an infection in my toe, and I was in game week for UCLA. UCLA was coming in town game week. I was in the hospital getting IVs and all sorts of things, and I think I got out of the hospital on that Friday, not thinking I was going to play. So I didn't practice that entire week, and so he played me anyway. And timing was off. I had a ball handling issue, the whole nine, and it was at that point where to me, it looked like he used that performance to become a backup's backup, So then that next week was coming in, and we were going to Vandy. And like I told you, Vandy that's where I got off. I got off on Vandy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you did.
And, I had a family come in to Nashville, and we didn't score one touchdown.
I remember that.
We kicked 4 field goals. I had teammates asking me like, man, they're going to put you in. And the only time I got in the game, I was in on the field goals. And it was so bad to the point where people on Vandy, they recognized me from a year before. So when I was in on field goal, blocking, they were like, oh, number 42's in the game. It's a fake. And I'm thinking like, no, it's not.
It's not.
No, it's not. And, and the writing was pretty much on the wall at that point. I think maybe 2 weeks from there, that I ended up in Pittsburgh. And I promise, I'll tell you this much. It was one of those things where if you would have told me a week before I left to go to Pittsburgh, I was going to be playing in Pitt. I was like, yeah, you're crazy. There's no way I'm leaving Alabama. I love it. I love it too much here. I love the people too much. And there was a guy, he ended up calling me randomly. And he went to Ohio State, and he played behind a All-American defensive back for 5 years. and he got emotional telling me the story. And he said, listen, man, they were losing against Michigan State, and the defensive back was getting lit up. And his position coach said, hey, I'm putting you in next possession, next defense. And so he put his helmet on. He's getting ready. And literally there was a turnover, and the defense had to run out there. So he's trotting out onto the field, and his coach grabs him by the shoulder pads and says, I'm going to give him one more chance. And he was a fifth-year senior, right? And this man is in tears telling me the story, and he was like, yo, maybe you should just reconsider. And right after that, I said, I'm going to pray about it, whatever. And right after that, it was the Vandy game. And all that happened, and the writing was on the wall. And so, I said, you know what? I think I might make that move. And it was just one of the toughest decisions of my life. It was one of those things, man. It happened very fast. It wasn't something meditated. It was one of those things that, like I said, my mom at that time, she had told me, she said, hey, a lot of your friends, if they're friends, you're going to be friends with you for life, no matter where you are. And I'm thankful for that, because a lot of the people that, I know from Bama from that time are still, we're still in touch and we're still close. And one thing she had said as well is that, you know what, maybe if you don't make it to the pros, it's just not going to be because of him. You know what I mean?
You know what? That writing on the wall phrase, it always it triggers me, man, because I never forget when I was cut from my 8th grade team. My coach was like, the writing's on the wall, but I couldn't read, so he had to draw me a picture. And I'm like, look.
Right. It could be a trigger. I'm sure.
That was that one time. One time I got cut. I just wanted to mention that.
Look, Steve, I felt the same way when the quarterback didn't throw me the ball, and I'm wide open.
Yeah, the writing on the wall.
What's so funny is that out of high school, Sean Alexander, he said, hey, listen, man, go to all 5 of your visits and make your decision from there. So my first choice was obviously Bama out of high school, but my second choice was Michigan State. My third choice was Pitt. At Michigan State at that time was the head coach, Nick Saban.
Wow.
What?
Nick Saban recruited me out of Cincinnati when he was at Michigan State. And think about it. To me, Alabama's here, Michigan State's here, but I had Michigan State second to Alabama. That's how great of a job they did recruiting me. And if it would have been Nick Saban instead of Dennis, if he would have got there when Dennis Francione got there, it would have been a totally different story. Nick Saban knew me. He ran a pro-style offense. They recruited me heavy. And so I always think about that. He was just like 22, 24 months, after the fact. You know what I mean? Like, literally, like he was like 3 years later. What year did he get to Bama? Was that 2004, 3?
07.
07.
Yeah, we had Shula.
So tell me something. You said you went on 5 recruiting visits.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask you this. I went on 3, but I wasn't invited. So don't worry about it, because y'all laughing at my pants.
Oh, you know what?
I think it was to DeVry, ITT Tech, and
there you go.
Yeah.
Strayer University.
Yeah.
And Stillman.
And Stillman.
Right.
No, I walked on at Stillman. I just walked on the campus and started.
There you go.
And then they escorted him off.
I wouldn't even enroll.
Just like Fresh Prince said. He said, "We all American." He had a girl that he was dating or something that he liked, and then she liked a football player who was all American. He said, "We all American."
So, Brandon, bro, you did your thing whenever Pitt went up against marquee opponents, and especially if they had a marquee running back. Man, against Virginia Tech, number 3 in the country, man, you helped lead your Pitt Panthers to an upset. You had a 56-yard touchdown. Went up against Willis McGahee and the number 1 Miami Hurricanes. you showed him up, and then you went against Steven Jackson for Oregon State Beavers, man, and you showed up every one of those guys.
I mean, just killed him. Just killed Jackson.
So what'd they say when you told them to sit down because it was a man's game?
You know what, man? I tell you what, it's a team effort, man. You know, the offensive line, man. The running backs can't do anything without a great line. That's the truth. And you know, when everybody's working lock and step together, great things happen, man. And y'all see it, y'all feel it, man. Like when y'all watching the Bama game and everything's clicking, and that line is just, you know, they call a-holes and elbows, you know, but like literally, and they just going, and you know, you 4 yards, and you know, by the end of, you know, third and fourth quarter, those 4 yards is 24 yards. Is that 24 yards? That's might turn into 34, 44. You know, so you know, when you're in those situations, man, where you're playing a complete game, and that's how I judge games now. Like, who controls the line of scrimmage? I can tell who's going to win the game based on who controls the line of scrimmage. Like, literally, like I can call games like that. Like, it's so easy for me to see. Like, okay, this team is they're controlling the line of scrimmage. They're going to win this game, and then that was one of those things, you know.
I'm kind of confused though. You were saying, okay, you said he showed up, Willis McGahee, and who else? Steven Jackson, and who else?
I ain't gonna say Willis McGahee.
Who else it was? Who was it?
Well, he showed up and showed out against Virginia Tech. It was number 3 in the country and up in the running for the national championship that year.
But who were these guys, these running backs that he did? You know, because yeah, go ahead.
It was the first one was from Virginia Tech. I can't think of his name right now.
Right, because they said that because I understand, you know, Justin was said you was doing a lot of showing out and running up and down the sideline and hitting holes and A gaps and all that. But Marvin just said you didn't do it against him. Now he just texted me the text right here. Marvin said you didn't do none of that against him.
Text. Hold it up to the screen for us.
Hold on.
I want to do talk to text. Do talk to text.
Marvin said you ain't do none of that against him. And I'm like, wow. So I mean,
that's why you left.
I'm impressed. He
Man,
said you didn't do it.
I was there on the
sideline
when Marvin got injured.
Wow.
What game was that Marvin got injured? LSU?
Oh.
LSU.
LSU in 99 or 2000?
99.
Yeah, that was a rough one, man.
You was there?
I still feel for him for that, man. That was bad. It was a
He
bad
was the only one that
what
wasn't laying down on the field, Steve.
What was crazy?
Mm-hmm.
What was crazy though? It was like that play in the end zone. It was like about 3 or 4 players at the same time tore their ACLs or something. I think it was crazy.
It really?
I mean, it was like Marvin and somebody else. It was like wasn't it like
Cornelius Griffin, Tony Dixon, Canary Knight.
I was in there too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Steve did his at home.
He was getting the root beer and fell out. Man,
he had a new pair of Stacey Adams on, hadn't broke them in yet, and yeah.
Hey man, I thought that was the craziest thing ever for all them to get hurt like that on one play.
Yeah, that it was just some games, man. It just it's so physical and so you're just so into it, and that was one of those games, man. And I think I was, like I said, I was on the sideline, so I redshirted that game. That next year we went to LSU, and a fan broke out into the 50-yard line and mooned us, and then started running around.
That was Steve. That was Steve.
But I thought I recognized, but I didn't see your backside. I didn't see your backside.
He had dreads then.
Yeah, I'll never forget though. I tore my ACL and got right back in the game. See, you can do that on PlayStation. I'm telling you, man. I was playing for the New England Patriots, and don't worry about it.
Steve, it's funny. Earlier, you mentioned not getting invited to recruiting visits. It's funny because something similar happened to Brandon. He didn't get invited to the NFL Combine, so him and his agent decided to take a drastic measure. Brandon, if you kind of talk to us about that and tell us how that played out for you in the long run.
So I was a Doak Walker candidate going into my senior season. First game did well. Second game did well. Third game, I didn't do as well. come to find out, I broke my leg in the third quarter, and I played for the rest of the game. I broke it in the second or third, and I played for the rest of the game, but it went misdiagnosed. And by the time it got diagnosed, I missed 8 weeks of the season. And so recruiters and, game scouts will come to practice, and I'm in a boot on a stationary bike. And, I got back week 11 and, ran for 177 yards and finished out the season still leading the team in rushing, and played in a senior. It wasn't the Senior Bowl. It was a Senior Bowl in the Villages in Florida, and scored a touchdown, but pulled my hamstring. Later that season, I've got I didn't get invited to the combine, which was normally in February of every year.
Yeah.
Or
and
February,
so,
sorry.
in February, March, April. It was in the winter. And so my agent was like, yo, let's just go. And so we went and, just went around talking to coaches. And the team, the Broncos, I never saw them while I was there. But on draft day, the Broncos called me around, somewhere around 6th round. They're like, hey, man, we didn't see you at the combine, so we just wanted to talk to you. And they said, yeah, just to kind of get your word. We're looking at you. And sometime around the 7th round, I thought I was going to be a free agent. He called me up and said, hey, we about to pick you. We about to get you. And so I was thinking, like, man, being a free agent would have been cool because I had more of a chance to pick where I wanted to go, where the best situation was. And I just remember my mom, God bless. I wish she need to watch this. But she, I said, Mom, I thought I was going to be a free agent. She said, you got the rest of your life to be a free agent. Today, you're a draft pick.
That's what's
So
up.
I got drafted, man, by the grace of God.
That's a great story. That's a great story because I wasn't invited to the combine either.
But that was the true snub. You was the true snub. Mine wasn't a snub.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't a snub.
So you had a good career in the NFL, but I want to focus now on the entertainment industry. And Steve, please feel free to interject because you're one of the top guys in your industry.
I mean, the GOAT.
Now, the thing about the entertainment industry, Brandon, and you probably agree with this, and Steve, you probably agree with this, it's not just something you do, it's really a calling. It's a lot of famine before feast, and a lot of times when you think a project's about to take off, it gets canceled.
Yeah.
What does it take to make it in the industry?
I think the same thing it takes to make it in football or, any other highly competitive situation. You got to love it, man. Honestly, when I played football, I remember just being so grateful, just being able to get out there and play a sport. It's a kid sport, y'all. Football is a kid sport. You throw it, you catch it, you run it. And like, man, just being able to do that for a living, you know what I mean? Like that is, you think about how profound
amazing
it is, right? And, but to get there, you have to go through 10 plus years, right, of apprenticeship, right? Nobody was paid for it beforehand, and you're getting bloodied up. I've had 2 broken legs in college. I've had, all sorts of injuries. I remember one time I got, it was an errant knee in my thigh one time at Bama in practice, and it hurt so bad. I told myself I will never intentionally try to hurt somebody. I said, this game is physical enough. It hurt that bad to me. It made me have that realization. Like it makes you rethink life. You know what I mean? Like imagine getting hit so hard doing certain things and you're like rethinking life. And so you've got to love this thing. You know what I mean? And I love it. I told my wife, I said, look, man, I want to, get out here and tell these stories, and I don't care who says no, right? And so it's one of those things where, I'm doing it, the strong way, the long way, and, doing it on my own way right now. And I'm having fun, though. Like even that's when people talk to me about their kids and they talk about, football and things like that, I always ask the kid, are you having fun? That's the first thing I ask them because it's so important for them to have fun because the fun is the X factor. If they're able to have fun, they're able to, they're going to go work out more. They're going to go, work on their craft more. That's going to be the X factor. You know what I'm saying? Being able to take that and just enjoy what you do ultimately. Now, you're not going to like everything. There are some times I wanted our bus to crash in 2 days. Like, I'm like, yo, it's like, yo, it's 110 degrees outside right now. It's one of them type of things. But ultimately, you should love what you do, and that's the passion. That's the X factor. And I haven't loved anything since playing football.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Something up, man. Tell us about your award-winning animated short, The Magical Root.
Yeah, man. Frederick Douglass, he was somebody that, I read his autobiography when I was a child, and it really touched me, and it really stayed with me. I would tell it to sports teams when I talked to them. I would go to schools and churches because it was just a profound principle. When he was a teenager, he got sent to a slave breaker's farm. Now, you usually send your worst slaves to a slave breaker's farm. And so for a year, this slave breaker is breaking you, not only physically, but also psychologically and emotionally and spiritually. And Frederick got there, and for the first 6 months, he was broken. And one day, he got beat so bad that he ran back to his original slave owner's house, thinking that he would show him reprieve. But Hugh Auld, his slave owner, basically said, hey, I don't want any static between me and this breaker, so you need to go back to that breaker. So me thinking about this, that had to be the longest walk back to this ranch, right? And so when he walked back to this ranch, he ran into another slave, a little older man named Sandy Jenkins, and he told him about his ordeal, and Sandy Jenkins gave him a magical root. And he said, hey, listen, you put it in your right pocket, you'll never get beat again. And Frederick was like, oh, this is some superstitious stuff. But he was like, it was something about his confidence, and plus he didn't have anything to lose. He was at the lowest point in his life. So he just took it. And then when he went back to the farm, the slave breaker didn't hit him. And he was like, well, is there something to this? But the slave breaker used to play mind games. He used to be on one side of this ranch and then show up on the other side, look like he was everywhere. And so one time, Frederick Douglass was working in the stall with the horses, and he came up behind Frederick and tried to beat him. And Frederick fought him back for 2 hours until finally the slave breaker stopped. And Frederick said, at that moment, I was a slave in form, but not a slave in fact, meaning physically he was a slave, but mentally he was not a slave. So he never got beat again. 4 years later, he found his freedom. His physical world manifested his mental world. And I'm thinking, man, imagine a slave walking around like they're not a slave during that time. Think about what we can do now. And so the story to me was just so powerful. And I just did a illustrated animated project. It was a short micro project, and it's won some awards and now has national distribution. And I have a product that goes into, people can teach their kids and schools. And so, yeah, it's just a powerful story that I'm excited about that just came out of something that was birthed inside of me,
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
So did Frederick Douglass, his hair, did it come as a result of that fight? Because I'm just saying.
That's it. It just popped out. It just popped out. All of that, man. All that, man.
Yeah, hold on. I need to get to a fist fight then. I need to get Frederick Douglass.
Get that hair for your wedding, Steve.
I got to give you the lesson plan with it. I got a lesson plan to let kids know, what the real motive of the story is. It's not the fight.
Okay. Okay. Well, then, Brandon, let me cop that lesson plan then.
There you go.
Get you a Frederick Douglass blowout for the wedding.
Oh God! Absolutely.
Hey, Brandon.
So Brandon, Steven is about to get married, man. It's his first time having sex. Yeah.
Man, congratulations, man. Congratulations.
I appreciate it, man.
When are you getting married, man?
July 10th, man.
So what, are y'all doing it up? I mean, y'all got bridesmaids?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to do it up. Hey, man.
Yeah. We got the whole 9, fried chicken, everything.
Hey, man.
Oh, snap. You gotta have fried chicken.
Yes, he's gonna make love to her on a bed.
So how many people are in the wedding party?
A bed of fried chicken. He's gonna come in wearing a suit like Ryan Isley.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
As a matter of fact, man, Brandon, Stephen has been practicing for this moment for a while. He's been walking around naked every day. This is the first time he put clothes on. So yeah, he's practicing.
Oh my God.
Hey,
You know
he
what?
can't go back to Guthrie's, but he's ready.
Steve Brown, man, y'all need to gift this man some Snickers or something because he's gonna need the energy this wedding night because he's gonna probably get worn out. He's
He
definitely
ain't.
he's
Nah, he
gonna
ain't.
need some Snickers.
No, he told me he said he gonna wipe his glasses and put them back on and keep on. Okay.
Hey, good question from the audience, Steve Brown. Are we having Steve's bachelor party?
Uh-oh.
Hey man, we need to, man. We need to.
Be a week-long event. I think we should do it.
There you go. Go to Applebee's, you know.
Yeah.
Go to the
That's
Moon
it.
Wings,
Turn in about
where it all
8, 9
started.
o'clock, you know, make it a night, baby.
Yeah, I'm not finna mess up this man wedding. I'm not gonna even do it.
Before we move into our closing segment, I got
knowing him, he won't even understand. He'll go back home with the girl from the bachelor party. Like, no,
Talking about you want to marry her now, huh? Oh, no. We can't have that. Like, you know you got a wife at home. Like, you know you got a wife. Like, come on. Oh man, this has been great, guys. This has been awesome. You guys are great. Listen, I watch you guys more than I watch the Kardashians. It's amazing.
Hey, that's love. Hey, for real, that's love, though.
Almost as much. I'm sorry. It's neck and neck. I might have them a little bit more than you, but you know. No, man.
That's all right. That's all right. Our viewers gonna go up, especially when I get these implants. Yeah, this gonna go up.
Yeah, that's our next sponsorship,
calf
man.
implants, what you doing? You doing the calf or the thigh muscles?
No, I'm doing a Kardashian. I'm getting behind and everything. I'm getting it all.
It's actually in the 5th chapter of Marvin's book talks about how to include that.
Listen, I expect all of y'all to be muscle bound. Y'all got Marvin in the host. You got books. You got resources.
There's a 5th chapter of Marvin's book.
Yeah, in the 8th chapter, it tells about how you can get a fat ass. I just passed out.
Lord, Marvin. Oh,
yeah, Marvin got a whole chapter on how to get thick. I'm like, nah. Yeah. And the name of the chapter is you look like your daddy, but you built like your mama. I'm like,
Hey, you doing stand up? Where you do stand up at?
Everywhere. As a matter of fact, man, I'll be in Houston, Texas this weekend, and then I will be. Where will I be? Man, like my schedule is like I'm booked up until like probably September. So God is good, man.
I gotta come check you out. I'm partnering with the godmother of comedies, Tina Graham, and we're doing a show.
I know Tina. I know. Yes.
Yeah, we're doing a show, LMBO, and so we're looking for undiscovered. You know what I'm saying? The talent that the world needs to hear about. So we gonna have to come see you, man.
Hey man, let me tell you something, man. Tina knows me. I'm discovered, but I can act like I'm undiscovered. I can act like
no. Seriously, like literally, what we want to do is she wants to go to 10 cities. She wants to find comedians, and they come out here and do their set on TV, basically, you know, for our show.
Hey man,
so
well, you know what? That's cool, man. Well, tell Tina, you know, I know I've been on like so many TV shows doing comedy, but you know what? I think starting today, I haven't been on one TV show.
Not one.
I'm really trying to get on one. Now, the last thing I did with video was Pornhub, and they did not accept it.
Hey, Steve, you probably need to go slap Will Smith, and they'll put you on.
Oh no, man! I'm telling you, I submitted my stuff to Pornhub, and they said they wouldn't accept it because I was naked. They said I was naked. I'm like, wait a minute, aren't you supposed to be naked?
Yeah, that's the whole. They won't let him be great, man. They will not let him be great.
Chapter that you didn't read in Marvin's book, okay? Read that chapter. And maybe if you do what you know in the book, then
Right.
you know they might accept you next time around.
Yeah, I got you. That's what it is.
Yeah, man.
Real-
I can't wait to come check you out, though. Seriously, brother. I think you're amazing, man. So looking forward to seeing you do your bit, man. How long is your stand up right now?
I'm
How
sorry.
long is your set? How long is your sets typically?
Dude, I honestly have like probably 2 hours worth of material. I've been doing it like
Dude.
25 plus years. So I have a lot of material. So yeah, it'll be cool, man. So definitely, man. Yeah, I know Tina Graham personally, as a matter of fact. She's really, really good people. She's really good people.
Copy that, man. Hey, Stephen Smith, man. It's been a pleasure, my brother.
Absolutely, man. Hey, right here.
Hey man, hey, I'm gonna let the world know this real quick, and I don't even care. Stephen Smith just sent us a private DM saying, I'm gonna be getting off, guys, because I gotta go eat. His wife is already. She's
He got a new flick. See?
Hey man.
Before everybody goes, I want them to go. I want y'all to give your social media contact and how people can find you and what's up next. Brandon, since you're our guest, I'll go ahead and start with you. We appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us. I hate that Marvin couldn't join us, man, but it was a blast.
I don't know if strangers want to follow me. Like, I think y'all since you know me offline, then it's like you kind of are compelled to. But I'm so weird. I do little silly dance videos. I'm sure. I don't know if people to watch, but you can find me at blah 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 blah. But no, find me on Facebook or IG. I mean, listen, take your time. Brick 2500. No C. No obligations, guys. I'm a little different, y'all. So yeah, that's where you.
Have you seen our show?
Everybody on our show is a little different. Hey, Stephen, go ahead. Stephen, go ahead and give them your info because you gotta go.
Man, hey, people can find me Stephen M. Smith on Facebook, Coaching M. Smith on Twitter. Instagram's a long name. I don't even got time to go into that. And
I know you ain't.
Yeah, but every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I got my show on YouTube in my own words, talking Bama football. Folks call in and act wild on there also. They probably going to ask me, is a J.I. Hall really on campus at Texas? That's probably going to be the next question they ask on tomorrow's show.
All right. Hey, well, Stephen, you go home, man. Go ahead and eat. Save your life. Go ahead. Save your life.
All right. I'm going to save my life, then.
Hey guys, you can follow me, Comic Steve Brown, on Instagram and Twitter, Comic Steve Brown, or you can go on my fan page on Facebook, All Things Steve Brown. Now you're gonna get a little label that says that I am in Facebook jail, but never mind that. Just still follow.
Follow the Magical Root. That's the page.
Yeah, still follow
the Magical Root at the Magical Root on IG, guys. At the Magical Root on IG, you'll find some inspirational stuff from there. All right,
that's what's up. Before we go, I want to say one last thing, just to update the audience. A few weeks back, if you didn't catch the show, we had a young man on here. His name is Logan Keating. He has a rare heart condition, and his dream was to always meet Alabama players. So we brought him on here, and we surprised him with a couple of former Alabama legends, and he got to hang out with us and run the show for the first half of the episode and had a great time. Well, got contacted by his mom today, and he took a turn for the worse last week, and they nearly lost him. So right now he's trying to fight back. He's trying to get back on the road to recovery, and they're asking for everyone's prayers. And they're also asking for any kind of offering of encouragement, a card, something funny, something signed if you're an athlete. The address to send it to, the Ronald Donald House, in care of Logan Keating, room 615, 3925 Chestnut Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19104. If you need that address again, please contact us, the Bama Standard at gmail.com, and I'll be glad to hand that out. Guys, great show. Thank you again. Enjoyed it.
There it is, man. Roll Tide and
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, roll, baby.